Thank you, Mr President. My question without notice is to the Leader of the Government in the Senate representing the Prime Minister, Senator Abetz. Can Senator Abetz confirm for the Chamber that he stated in this place that A, the construction sector is dominated by the CFMEU and the outlaw bikie gangs with which they associate, B, there is a sinister veil of silence from witnesses and victims because they fear retribution and reprisal from speaking out against the intimidation that we so often see in this industry, most commonly on the part of the CFMEU. And C, the courts have said time and time again that CFMEU continues to ignore the law despite the imposition of penalties. And could the Senator say who was worse in his opinion, the CFMEU or the BLF?
The Leader of the Government in the Senate representing the Prime Minister, Senator Abetz.
Mr President, I thank Senator Lambie for the question because the very last part of her question allows us to see the very sad and sorry history that has bedevilled the construction sector now for decades. It was, in fact, a proud union movement, and a proud Labor leader that was willing to call corruption as corruption, thuggery as thuggery. And that is why Bob Hawke and the ACTU at the time were willing to move for the deregistration of the BLF. They would not countenance the good name of trade unionism being trashed by those elements. Regrettably, those elements have re-emerged in the construction sector of the CFMEU, and that has now been shown to be the case by the Coal Royal Commission. It was also confirmed by Justice Wilcox when he had a review of our Australian Building and Construction Commission legislation when he said he wished, or words to the effect, he wished he did not have to recommend the ongoing use of the coercive powers which the Labor Party now seeks to deny. Mr President, we have since had the revelations of the Hayden Royal Commission indicating similar thuggery. Indeed, we have now had arrests. And indeed, Mr President, the CFMEU used to run this line, don't have a special body, report these matters to the police. Well, you know what happened just the other day? The police actually took action, arrested somebody, and what did Mr Noonan of the CFMEU say? That shouldn't be a police matter, it's an industrial matter. So, Mr President, you know, no matter what the circumstances, they will twist and weave. And in direct answer, I think it's a toss of the coin between the BLF and the current divisions of the CMFEU.
Senator Lambie, supplementary question.
Mr President, my supplementary question to Senator Abetz is, does the Senator agree with Senator Nash when she told this chamber in November 2014 that, and I quote, Council assisting has found that the CFMEU engaged in secretly stealing private information of its members, boycotts, cartels, blackmail, extortion and even death threats?
Minister.
Mr President, I usually hang on every word that Senator Nash tells this Senate, and I have no reason to disbelieve that that is something that Senator Nash may have said and that Senator Lambie is faithfully representing that to the chamber. And what it once again shows is the horrid culture of corruption within the building sector. And as I said when the Hayden Royal Commission was launched, that this would be a two-edged sword, that if inappropriate payments were being made to trade unions, chances are those payments were being made by employers and contractors who in effect want an easy life and therefore pay themselves out of trouble. The sort of circumstance which has now been revealed as having occurred with Chiquita mushrooms when a certain trade union official, now parading as an alternate Prime Minister, engaged in as well.
Minister, the time for answering the question has expired. Senator Lambie, a final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Given that the Senator agrees that the CFMEU leadership is involved in a wide range of serious criminal activities, blackmail, extortion, death threats, assault, associations within outlaw bikie gangs, killers and underworld figures, and that there's little difference between the CFMEU and the BLF, Can the Senator explain why his government, that has now been in office for 2 years, hasn't deregistered the CFMEU just as it knows the Hawke Labor government did in 1986? Why haven't you deregistered the BLE?
Thank you, Senator Lambie. The time for asking the question has expired. Minister.
Mr President, the proposition that the Senator puts forward is a very interesting proposition, and the situation was that in the Hawke era you had a responsible Labor leadership supported by a responsible opposition. There was unanimous support in the Parliament for that course of action. Yet what we have from this government is Mr Shorten wheeling in front benches to Senate estimates to run interference and to run defence for the CFMEU, including trying to ask questions as to why a CFMEU official that lied on his statutory declaration...
Pause the clock. Order. Order. Senator Lambie, a point of order.
Yes, Mr President. I just simply asked Senator Abetz why they have not deregistered
Order on
the
my right.
CFMEU with or without support. I just want to know why you haven't used that instrument and deregistered them.
Thank you, Senator Lambie. The Minister has 10 seconds left to complete his answer.
Mr President, I would be very interested to see if there would be support for that in this chamber. One suspects if there isn't support for the ABCC,
Thank you, Minister.
there clearly
the time
wouldn't
for
be
answering the
support
question
for
has
deregistration.
expired.